Hello, thank you for joining me. I hope you're all well. It's Kirsten and we are doing my July TBR game, which is number 2 out of 3 TBRs that I am having this month. So I'm taking part in 2 other readathons as well as my own TBR game, and we're gonna see how this goes. Now I've already got the books for 1 TBR, which was my Jane Austen July, which would have been out before this video. So I'm gonna try and see if I can mix any of those books with these prompts, and then after I filmed this one I have one more to film, which is part of Make Your Myth Taker, which they did a readathon this time last year, and I really enjoyed taking part in that, and this time they have another one which again will be in a separate video, but hopefully some of the books that come up I can use for those as well, so fingers crossed. Now the rules of this game are super easy. I roll a 6 coloured sided dice, a minimum of 6 times, and if that colour comes up twice I have to re-roll. Each colour relates to a prompt and I cannot double up on any of these prompts, so I have a minimum of 6 prompts to fulfill, but it can easily become 12 depending on how many re-rolls I get. But before we get into those rolls, we do need to choose my 6th prompt from last month. We ended up with 5 that I'm carrying over and we need to fill up that space. Right, let's go. Going with this one, a reread. I don't mind a reread. That'll be good. Okay, so now that we've got my 6th prompt, let's get straight to those rolls. Time for roll number 1. Purple. Animal on the cover. So roll number 1 is Animal on the Cover, and for this one I am going with a book that was sent to me by the author in exchange for an honest review, and that is The Wolf of Arkan by G.D. Light. Now has a wolf on the cover, so that counts, and I'm not too sure what this is about. I know our main character has been dreaming of this massive wolf for ages now and she has no idea why, and I guess we're gonna find out why. I think this is about werewolves, which is what I'm hoping for, so we'll see. I really don't know too much about it. I just got sent it asking if I'd be interested and I said sure, why not? Because the way they were talking about it being a really good fantasy, bit of romance and stuff thrown in there, I am happy to give that a try. So thank you very much for sending this to me and I'm looking forward to reading this one. Roll number 2. Green. Treat yourself. I'm liking this TBR game because roll number 2 was treat yourself, which basically means I'm allowed to buy a book. I can choose to buy a brand new book completely. However, I did literally like 2 days ago order the graphic novel version of Catwoman by Sarah J Maas, and I'm really excited. So I think I'm just going to use that for the treat yourself prompt instead, because I literally only bought it 2 days ago and I haven't actually received it. I'm waiting for it to be delivered, so that's going to count. I enjoyed Catwoman. I actually think it was a really nice just standalone by Sarah J Maas. You can tell it's not part of her usual writing. This is the story to Catwoman and I liked it. We had mentions of Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and I'm really intrigued by the graphic novel, so I knew that as soon as that came on sale at Blackwell's, which is the only place I've been able to find it in England, I was like yes, I'm buying that. So using that for this prompt. Very excited. Have you read it? I really do like DC anyway, so I mean it's not something I watch a lot of, but if I was going to, I'd rather DC over Marvel, but that is a debate for another time. Roll number 3. Pink. Anticipated read. Roll number 3, again another nice one, and that is anticipated read. Now to be quite honest, when anticipated read comes up I pretty much can use it for any of my books because genuinely I'm normally so excited to read a lot of them, but I'm playing it smart this time. So anticipated read pretty much any of my books as I just said, but I've decided to also make sure it can match up with one of the prompts on the Myth Taker TBR. We're going with Orlando by Virginia Woolf. Now this is a book I am interested in reading. Virginia Woolf is a classic author that I am really intrigued by. Apparently her writing's meant to be really strange and unusual, but I'm excited to give this one a try, and it works for one of the other prompts, which is perfection. A young man in the court of aging Queen Elizabeth I, the beautiful Orlando seems to belong everywhere and nowhere. One morning he awakens transformed, transported into the 18th century and the body of a woman. This just sounds so good. Like it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, excited to give this one a try. Roll number 4. Purple again. Lowest rated on my TBR. My first reroll. Pink. Anything. My second reroll. Yellow. Reread. Wow. Roll number 4 really screwed me. Like, wow. That hasn't happened for a little while, I don't think. That was painful. But the first roll for roll number 4 was lowest rated on my TBR. So to do this, I go onto my Goodreads, list all the books that I want to read in terms of rating and do it by the lowest and just go for the book that I actually own. And that one came up with Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I am intrigued by this one. Again, another classic. It's meant to be a horror classic and it is talked about a lot and there has been a few reimaginings of this. I found this edition in W.H. Smith's for £2 and look how garishly awesome this cover is. I love it and it's even got black sprayed edges. Plus it's a nice short one, so I'm kind of apprehensive that it's the lowest rated, but at the same time sometimes classics can be, just because they are that harder writing style and they can be a little bit more difficult to get into. But I am intrigued. It's one I've been wanting to read for a while and I do like a good horror classic, so we'll see how this one goes. And then for the first re-roll on roll number 4, we had Anything, which I'm really pleased that that came up because, as I said, I've got multiple different TBRs and readathons going on this month, and I've decided for this one to choose one out of my Jane Austen July TBR, and that's Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This is a group read that we're doing across July, so we have each day set amount of chapters to read, so I'm really pleased to fit this one on because it is one of the bigger books on that TBR, so don't know too much about this one. Apparently it's one of Jane Austen's most profound works. Mansfield Park is a subtle, moving examination of the contrast between superficial charm and true integrity. Very good. I haven't read this. Have you read this? I'm intrigued. And for the final roll, or roll number 4, we had Reread, which I love a reread, but it doesn't really work for this month because none of the books that I want to reread fit with prompts for Jane Austen, and none of them fit on my Myth Take TBR either. I really need to find out the proper name for that. I just know that the Myth Take was the one that they did last year and the Myth Take is their Instagram handle and everything, but it could have a completely different name for this readathon. I should probably find that out before I film that, which I'm meant to be doing after this. Anyway, tangent aside, for reread I am going with A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I actually have a list of books that I said I was going to reread this year, and so far out of 5 of those I've read 1, and we're halfway through the year already, so I need to get a wiggle on. So this is one of the series that I said I was going to reread. I think I'm amending what I said that I'm going to reread the whole series to just at least one of the books from the series, because like I said, we're halfway through the year. I had a lot of series on that and I haven't read any of them, so. But I do like A Darker Shade of Magic. It's kind of like a portal fantasy. We have different Londons and they're kind of colour coordinated, so you have black, white, red and grey, but one of the Londons you just can't go to, and we have this magician of sorts that is able to travel between the Londons and does it to keep alliances safe between them, but then things start going terribly wrong. I actually really enjoyed this, and it's been a while since I've actually read or reread this. I think I read it only once, so it'd be really nice to get back into this, especially because I'm starting to get a bit hazy around the details, so it'd be really nice to go back into one of V.E. Schwab's works. I do like V.E. Schwab's writing. I think she's a really incredible author and is one of those that I just automatically buy her books, so yeah, it'll be nice just to deep dive back into this one. Roll number 5. Yellow again. Mystery. And re-roll again. Pink. Foil on the cover. I may cry with the amount of rerolls that are happening. It's just, why? On a month when I've got so many readathons, why? Anyway, for roll number 5, we had Mystery. And I'm finally going to continue on with the Truly Devious trilogy. I'm excited for this one, but this is a YA murder mystery by Maureen Johnson, and the second book is The Vanishing Stair, and I read Truly Devious ages and ages ago. I think it was actually last year that I read it, and I did like it because I was in a really YA murder mystery thing, but I read it after reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I adored, and so then found Truly Devious not quite as good. But to be fair, it was a good book. I feel like I was a little bit harsh with it, so I am excited to carry on, especially because there's a 4th book coming out. I thought this was going to be a trilogy, but there is a 4th book either coming out or just came out, and I'm like, okay, I need to get a wiggle on, hurry up with this series, get this read. I do like YA murder mystery. I'm kind of not into YA fantasy at the moment, but the murder mysteries are just a fun time. So this will be interesting. The first book, we were following our main character who is super smart and basically just wants to be Sherlock Holmes, and so she goes to this really extraordinary school for really smart children that are allowed to learn and focus on their learning whatever they feel like. But at this place in this particular school, and why she wanted to go there, is this unsolved unsolved murder mystery, and she is determined that she is going to be the one to solve it, and we are following that. So that's like the main mystery that's overarching this series, and then within each book you have its own little mysteries in it. So it's a fun time. I did enjoy that first book. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Okay, and for the second roll of roll number 5, we had foil on the cover, and for this one I'm actually going with a buddy read. So me and Christina over at Christina Campbell Reads, a lovely booktuber. Please do check her out. She's always got amazing books to recommend. But we are going to be buddy reading Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I've been excited to read this book, and I recently got it. Christina saw that I'd recently got it, and she was like, hey, my library hold comes out on that soon. Do you want to do another buddy read? And I was like, of course. So we've decided to buddy read this in July, so I had to squeeze it on this TBR somewhere as well. Honestly, realising the amount of books I actually have to read this month is a little bit daunting. I am excited to do this buddy read. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know too much about it apart from I believe we have Piranesi, who is in this rather unusual house. I'm just expecting really gorgeous writing. It's going to be the first book that I've read of Susanna Clarke's, and I am interested in picking up Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I've not read that one, but it is huge and I'm a little bit daunted by it, so I thought let's start off with something smaller, just see if I like her writing. And it is foiled. It's got even more foiling under the dust jacket, so that fits the bill perfectly. Roll number 6. Blue. Recent purchase. Okay, at least roll number 6 wasn't a re-roll. I was a little bit panicked. I was thinking I've got too many books on my TBR for this month to be going this mean to me on my game. Like, it's just not possible. But we have just one, and that's recent purchase. And for this one, it's another one that I can use as part of my Jane Austen July, which is perfect. And that is this little compendium of Jane Austen's short stories. We have Lady Susan, The Watsons, and Sandation. I'm only going to be reading Lady Susan out of this collection, and that's just for one of the prompts on the Jane Austen July. If you haven't seen that, you can go check that out. But yeah, I'm excited to give this one a try. It's meant to just be basically just letters. I might have got that confused with The Watsons. I just know it's one of her short stories and it's Jane Austen. I really liked Pride and Prejudice, so I'm intrigued to give this a try, see what it's going to be about. I'm expecting romance, some sarcasm in here, because that's exactly what I got from Pride and Prejudice. So that's what we're going with for recent purchase. So we have 9 books on this TBR, which doesn't seem that bad. However, I still have another 3 books on the Jane Austen TBR to add to this, making it 12 books, plus I think I might need to add in a book for the Myth Taker TBR. I'm not sure. So basically we're looking at a really massive stack of books, and I'm a bit worried about it this month, but we're gonna see how it goes. Let me know, have you read any of these? Are you going to be reading any of these? Or what are you reading this month? I'm always intrigued. I'm always looking to know. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this slightly chaotic video, I've had to do so many retakes, it's actually unreal at this point. But if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to give it that thumbs up and subscribe. My social media links will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the next one.